All right, children, this is our third English class for the higher secondary English B. Today, like I told you in the last class, today we will do this poem on killing a tree. In the last class, we have done one prose passage. Today, we are going to do on killing a tree. Within brackets, you see there again, the poem is on pages 61 and 62. You have to read the poem, you have to be familiar with the lines of the poem and also with the meanings that are there in the text, which we may not be discussing in this particular lesson. The poem is written by Giv Patel. He was born in 1940. He's the poet. He's not just a poet, he's a playwright, he's a painter, and more importantly, basically his profession is of a physician. He's a doctor. So, on killing a tree, written by Giv Patel. We are going to discuss this particular poem today. You will read the poem on pages 61 and 62. Now, in this next screen, you see a picture here of a tree that is being held by a man over there. So, this particular picture summarizes your entire poem. The poem is about the destruction of a tree. The poem is about how we hurt nature, how we harm nature, and how we randomly destroy and cut down and uproot trees. And that this particular picture summarizes the entire poem. And in very short, we've given you a brief summary of the poem. We have said that a tree cannot be killed easily. This is what the poem discusses. It may be cut down, but it will regrow. It must be uprooted completely to kill it. So, in our poem, the basic theme, the basic idea in the poem is that a tree cannot be killed easily. It cannot be destroyed easily. When we cut down a tree, the tree will again regrow, it will heal itself and it will regrow again. So, to completely kill a tree, to completely destroy a tree, it has to be uprooted as it is shown in the picture there. And you can also read the summary of the poem, which is on page 105. Now, our lesson, how we've divided this lesson is in terms of the stanzas. What you see in the top left hand corner of the screen is the first stanza of the poem, and below that in the rest of the screen is a summary of the stanza. It is not a detailed summary, but I think it will help you to understand the poem and to be familiar with it and to be well prepared to write your tests and exams. So, we will not read the stanza. It is displayed there. It is also there in your text. We will go to the synopsis of the stanza directly. Now, the first stanza, you will see at the end we have written growth. Now, that word which is written in blue, in this particular stanza, in the first stanza, the poet focuses on the growth of the tree, on the development of the tree, on how much time and how much effort and how many years it took for the tree to become a tree from a very small seed. So, that is the focus here, and we have followed in this particular paraphrase, in this particular synopsis, we have followed what is the gist of what is said in the first stanza. In the first line, we have said it takes a lot of time and effort to kill a tree. Poking it with a knife cannot kill it. So, यहाँनिर के भन्दैछ भने हामीले गएर रुखलाई मार्नु हो भने त्यसलाई एउटा छुरी लगेर घोचेर मार्नु सकिँदैन, because we have said in the first sentence that it takes a lot of time and effort to kill a tree. Now, why is it difficult to kill a tree with a knife? एउटा छुरीले घोचेर रुखलाई किन मार्नु सक्दैन? Why? Because the tree has grown very slowly, feeding upon the earth's crust and absorbing sunlight, air and water for several years. किन चाहिँ घोचेर मार्नु सक्दैन भन्दाखेरि त्यो रुख हुर्किनु लागि उलाई धेरै नै समय लाग्यो. It took a lot of years for the tree to grow, and it has grown very slowly by consuming the earth's crust. Earth's crust भन्नाले उले न्युट्रिएन्ट्सहरु खानेकुराहरु त्यो पृथ्वीबाट माटोबाट उले पायो न्युट्रिएन्ट्सहरु. And also one thing is it has eaten the earth's crust, it is feeding upon the earth's crust, and the other thing is it has absorbed a lot of sunlight, air and water. So this is a general truth regarding all plants and all trees. So for trees to thrive, they require sunlight, they require air, they require water, and they also require nutrients which they derive from the earth, from the soil or from the earth. So that is why it is difficult to kill a tree using a knife. Ani orko in the next paragraph we have said, therefore the tree has derived nutrition from the earth as it grew out of it. त्यहाँनिर एउटा लाइन छ पोएममा, राइजिङ आउट अफ इट भन्दैछ, द ट्री हेज ग्रोन आउट अफ द अर्थ. And how is it growing? By consuming the earth, by taking the nutrients that are there in the earth. So the focus here is that the tree is a growing tree. The tree has taken the nutrients required for its proper growth, and it has taken sunlight, air and water, absorbed sunlight, air and water for a lot of years for it to grow. So the focus here is about the growth of the tree, how it has grown. So what is the result? The result of this nutrition that it is receiving, the nutrition that the tree is receiving from the earth and from sunlight, air and water, the result is that this nutrition has resulted in the tree developing a strong trunk and numerous leaves. त्यहाँदेखि त्यो रुख सानो सिडबाट बिस्तारो त्यो सिडलिङ भयो, त्यहाँदेखि स्याप्लिङ भयो, स्याप्लिङदेखि सानो प्लान्ट भयो, प्लान्टदेखि हुर्केर बढेर त्यो रुख भयो. त्यो हुनुमा चाहिँ कसको कन्ट्रिब्युसन छ भन्दाखेरि the contribution is of the earth, from where it got nutrition, and from sunlight, air and water. So after when it got this nutrition, what happened was that the tree started developing numerous leaves. त्यहाँनिर लास्ट लाइनमा भनेको छ तपाईको फर्स्ट स्ट्यान्जाको लास्ट लाइनमा भनेको छ, and out second last लाइनमा, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. त्यो भनेको चाहिँ के हो भने यहाँनिर हामीले लेखेको छौं, from the trunk of the tree, from the main say the branch of the tree has started developing leaves. So the tree is a growing tree in the first stanza. यो कुरा तपाईले मनमा राखिराख्नुहोस्. What kind of tree is it in the first stanza भनेर सोध्यो अब या क्वेशन आयो भने तपाईले के सोच्नु पर्यो? The tree is a growing tree, the tree is a feeding tree. It is feeding itself and it is growing. So in the last line on that screen you see it has grown tall and it is deeply rooted into the earth. That is an extra comment that we have added. It is not there in the first stanza. So the tree has taken first stanza ko basic understanding के हुनुपर्छ तपाईहरुलाई भने the tree is a growing tree. कसरी बढ्यो भन्दा consuming the earth, absorbing sunlight, air and water. अनि बढ्दाखेरि हुर्किँदाखेरि त्यसमा के चेन्जेस आयो? In what way did it develop भन्दाखेरि it started sprouting leaves from its leprous hide. त्यो strong trunk from and numerous leaves भनेको. So in the first stanza it is a growing tree, so and the tree is very strong, so you cannot kill it using a knife. Now in the next screen you see the second stanza of the poem. Now let's focus on the picture there, if it is clear enough. त्यो नक्सामा हामीले के देखाएको छौं? There is somebody who's chopping down the tree, who's cut down the tree. अनि एउटा सानो त्यो रुखको त्यो ट्रीको सानो स्टम्प मात्रै छ बेसमा. So this stanza is focusing on what is being shown to you, what has been shown to you in the photograph there, in the picture there. Again, the second stanza of the poem, तपाईले केमा फोकस गर्नु पर्यो? What does the second stanza discuss? It discusses the injury that is made on the tree. Injury भनेको त्यसलाई चोट कसरी पुर्याउँदैछ मान्छेले रुखलाई अनि त्यो रुखले कसरी आफूलाई रिकभर गर्दैछ. So in this stanza the focus is on the pain and the injury that the tree is caused by man and how the tree recovers or recuperates itself. So in continuation from the first stanza मा उले मान्छेले छुरी लगेर रुखलाई मार्ने कोसिस गर्यो, मरेन, केही भएन, उलाई चोट पनि लागेन. सेकेन्ड स्ट्यान्जामा मान्छेले के गर्दैछ, त्यो रुखलाई मार्नु लागि he starts hacking and chopping the tree. So that is what we have written in the first line. The tree is hacked and chopped. It is injured but it does not die. So त्यो यो रुखलाई मार्नु लागि चाहिँ के छुरीले हुँदैन रहेछ, यसलाई मार्नु लागि एक्सहरू चाहियो, ठुल्ठुलो से इम्प्लिमेन्ट्सहरू चाहियो भनेर मान्छेले बुझ्यो. सो म्यान गोज एन्ड कट्स डाउन द ट्री. So he hacks and chops down the tree, but the tree gets injured. The tree is injured, but it does not die. So in the next line we have noted that the tree undergoes a lot of pain. उसलाई धेरै अब चोट परेको छ, इन्जुरी भएको छ, त्यो रुखलाई काटेको छ, लडाएको छ, त्यति बेला त्यो रुखमाथि चोट पर्यो अनि त्यो रुखलाई धेरै दुख्छ पनि, जसरी मान्छेलाई चोट पर्छ त्यो रुखलाई पनि दुख्यो. सो इट undergoes a lot of pain as its bark bleeds, but the tree heals itself. त्यहाँनिर के भन्दैछौँ, त्यसलाई चोट लाग्यो, मान्छेलाई चोट लाग्यो भने, मान्छेलाई कुनै धारिलो हतियारले हिर्कायो भने त्यो मान्छे या बुलेटले सुट गर्यो भने त्यो मान्छेबाट जिउबाट रगत निस्किन्छ. द पोएट इज इमेजिनिङ द सेम थिङ. सो द bark of the tree bleeds, bark meaning the trunk of the tree, the trunk of the tree bleeds. That is what the poet is imagining. Actually के हुन्छ, त्यो रुखलाई काट्दाखेरि त्यो रुखबाट त्यो स्याप निस्किन्छ. सो the bark bleeds भनेको this is a reference to the sap that these trees have. So when the sap comes out of the tree, the poet is imagining that the tree is bleeding. But he says in the second stanza, he says, but the tree heals itself. उसले आफूलाई जाति बनाउँछ अरे. कसरी जाति बनाउँछ, रुखलाई काट्यो, लडायो, मान्छेले छोड्दी राखेर गयो, त्यो रुखलाई याद गरेन, त्यो यो मरे कि मरेन भनेर घरिघरि हेर्नु आएन, त्यो रुखबाट उम्रिँदै गरेको त्यो सानो ब्रान्चेसहरू, ट्विग्सहरू भनेको छ यहाँनिर, मिनिएचर बोजहरू भनेको छ, यिनीहरूलाई मान्छेले फाँडिरहेन भने त्यो रुख फेरि हुर्केर बढेर पहिला जत्रो थियो त्यत्रै हुन्छ. सो what happens is soon tender green twigs which are baby branches will grow from the tree's hacked base. त्यो स्टम्प जुन मैले भने फोटोग्राफमा, from that stump that is remaining in the ground, what will happen is again new twigs start coming out of that trunk, and if that is not checked, the tree will grow back to its former size. पहिला जत्रो थियो त्यत्रै हुर्केर त्यो बढेर जान्छ. So in the last line on that screen, that is what we have noted. If these twigs, if these small branches are allowed to spread, if they are allowed to grow, then the tree will return back to its original size again. So in this stanza, यहाँनिर याद गर्नुपर्ने इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरा के हो भने, the tree is hurt, the tree is injured, the tree faces a lot of pain when it is attacked by man, when it is hacked and chopped by man, but the tree heals itself. उसले आफूलाई जाति बनाउँछ. So this is a summary of the second stanza. Now in the third stanza, in the synopsis there, in the paraphrase we have said, in the summary we have said, the final act. Final act किन भनेको हो भने, this is when the tree is killed. It does not die in this stanza, but this is the process of the death of the tree, which we have shown you in the picture. त्यो फोटोमा के छ भने, त्यो रुखलाई मार्नु हो भने, अघिको प्रिभियस स्क्रिनमा हामीले त्यसलाई काटेर मार्नु खोज्यो, मान्छेले मरेन. यहाँनिर कसरी मारेको छ, इफ यु लुक एट द फोटोग्राफ यु विल अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड दिस स्ट्यान्जा अल्सो. यहाँनिर कसरी मारेको छ, त्यो डल्लै रुखलाई नै जरासँग नै उखालेर निकालेको छ. सो द्याट इज वाट दिस पर्टिकुलर स्ट्यान्जा डिस्कसेस. सो we have said there in the summary, in the synopsis we have said, to completely kill the tree, it has to be uprooted from the earth. त्यसलाई उखाल्नु पर्छ जहाँनिर त्यो earthमा जहाँनिर त्यसले बेस बनाएर बसेको छ त्यहाँदेखि त्यो रुखलाई जरासँगै उखाल्नु पर्छ. And how is this done? यसलाई कसरी उखाल्छ भन्दाखेरि the tree, this is what is mentioned in the poem, the tree is tied with ropes. त्यसलाई डोरीले बाँधेर चारैपट्टिबाट डोरीले बाँधेर त्यो डोरी तानेर उसलाई जरासँग नै फोर्सफुली निकालेको छ. So it has to be pulled out, snapped out or pulled out entirely भनेको त्यही नै हो. So the rope is the tree is tied with ropes and the tree is forcefully pulled out of the earth. And what is the result? Now when the tree is pulled out, what happens is the roots are exposed. त्यो फोटोग्राफमा त्यो इमेजमा देख्नु हुँदैछ, the roots have been pulled out of the ground, and the roots, according to the poem, according to what the poet has said here, the roots are the source of strength of the tree. त्यो रुखको स्ट्रेन्थ नै, त्यो रुख किन बलियो भएर हुर्क्यो भन्दाखेरि त्यसको जराबाट उसले त्यो स्ट्रेन्थ पाइरहेको थियो, त्यसको रुट्सबाट. सो द रुट्स विच आर द सोर्स अफ स्ट्रेन्थ has to be uprooted. But at the same time, he says, the poet says, the roots are the most sensitive part of the tree. They are very sensitive, but they are the ones which provide strength to the tree. And so the roots have to be uprooted. And when the roots are uprooted, in the last part of the screen you can see there, when the roots are uprooted, they are white and wet. त्यो जराको कलर भर्खर तपाईले रुखै उखाल्नु परेन, तपाईले घरमा प्लान्टहरु घाँसहरु केही उखाल्दाखेरि त्यहाँ देख्नुहुन्छ the roots are wet and they are tender and they are usually white in color. They look brown because of the earth, but if you wash them, the roots are white in color. So that is what he mentions. The white and wet fruits that have been hidden under the earth for many years, they are now exposed to heat and light. So in the third stanza, where the note that we have made is this is the final act of killing the tree. In the third stanza, the tree is uprooted. First stanza मा उले घोचेर मार्ने कोसिस गर्यो, मरेन. सेकेन्ड स्ट्यान्जा मा उलाई रुखलाई काटेर मार्ने कोसिस गर्यो, तर पनि मरेन. इन द थर्ड स्ट्यान्जा, म्यान गोज एन्ड अप्रुट्स द ट्री. यसलाई जराइसँग उखाल्यो भने मात्रै मर्ने रहेछ भनेर उसले जरासँग उखाल्छ. नाउ द फाइनल स्ट्यान्जा, विच इज very short, as you can see, just 6 lines there. In the final stanza, we have said painful death. So now in the final stanza, the tree is going to dry. It is going to, the roots are going to dry up and the tree is going to die, as you can see in the picture there. The picture may not be so clear. त्यो फोटोमा के देखाइरहेको छ भने त्यो रुखको जराहरू मात्रै देखाएको छ, उखालेको रुखको. Maybe it is not very clear to you. That is how a tree is killed as per the third stanza that we have read, and this is the death of the tree, the process of death, the process of dying. Now the tree, so when the roots are uprooted, now the tree begins to die. And how does it die? It begins to burn in the sun and choke in the air. त्यो रुखको जरा जब हामीले त्यसलाई एक्सपोज गर्छौं, बाहिर निकाल्छौं, त्यो अर्थदेखि, पृथ्वीदेखि बाहिर निकाल्छौं, के हुन्छ, घाममा त्यो डर्नु थाल्छ. इट स्टार्ट्स बर्निङ इन द सन एन्ड इन द एयर द्याट इज आउटसाइड इट बिगिन्स टु चोक. उसले सास फेर्नु सक्दैन. सो द ट्री अल्सो वाट ह्यापन्स, दिस इज नट मेन्सन इन द पोएम, अल्सो वाट ह्यापन्स, the tree derives nutrients using its roots. त्यो जराबाट नै उसले त्यो खानेकुराहरू पृथ्वीबाट, त्यो अर्थबाट निकाल्दैछ, खाँदैछ जराबाट. अब जरा बाहिर निस्केपछि त्यो रुखले, the rest of the tree cannot get any nutrients, it cannot get any food from the soil. So 3 things we have mentioned there. The 2 things that are there in the poem, it starts burning in the sun and choking in the air. Also we have added that it cannot derive any nutrients from the soil. And so the roots, जुन जरा चाहिँ अघि हामीले भन्यौ थर्ड स्ट्यान्जामा, which are wet and white in color, those roots the wet, white and soft roots, they become brown, hard, twisted and dry. बिस्तारोसँग त्यो घाममा डर्नु थाल्छ, त्यसले सास फेर्नु सक्दैन भनेको छौँ हामीले, choke in the air भनेको त्यसले सास फेर्नु सक्दैन, अनि it becomes twisted up, त्यो सुक्खा हुन्छ, it becomes brown in color, it becomes very hard, and so finally in the last line we have said this is how the tree dies. So here we did not bring out those emotions in this particular discussion because we have been only discussing the simple meaning of the poem. Simple meaning फेरि म छोटकरीमा summarize गरिदिन्छु. Stanza 1 discusses the growth of the tree, कति समय लाग्यो, के खाएर कसरी हुर्क्यो त्यो, consuming the earth, absorbing sunlight, air, water and त्यो कुराहरू भन्यो. Second stanza मा अनि त्यो first stanza मा के हुन्छ, when man goes and tries to kill it with a knife, the tree, nothing happens to it. So in the second stanza we said the tree recovers, the tree is injured, it is hurt, it is in a lot of pain, but it recovers. Why is it hurt? किनभने सेकेन्ड स्ट्यान्जामा मान्छेले गएर त्यो रुखलाई के गर्छ, he chops and hacks at the tree. के इन्स्ट्रुमेन्टहरू युज गर्यो त्यो पोएममा भनेको छैन. We have shown you in the picture, when we cut down a tree we generally use an axe. So त्यो एक्सले त्यसलाई चप गर्यो, त्यसलाई ह्याक गर्यो, तर पनि रुख मरेन, त्यसलाई त्यतिकै छोड्यो भने त्यो रुख फेरि हुर्केर बढेर पहिला जत्रो थियो त्यतिकै हुन्छ. Now in the third stanza मा के हुन्छ, the process of death has just begun, and in the third stanza man understands that even cutting down the tree will not kill it, so man uproots the tree, त्यसलाई डोरीहरूले बाँधेर त्यसलाई उखाल्छ. अब उखाल्दाखेरि त्यसको जराहरू, the roots are exposed in the sun and the air, it begins to choke and it begins to choke in the air, it begins to burn in the sun. And in the last stanza of the poem he discusses the final death, and this is a painful death for the tree. So that is basically your poem. अब तपाईले यति मिनिङ, यो साधारण मिनिङ मात्रै बुझेर हुँदैन, तपाईले यो धेरै यो पोएमको वर्ड्सहरू, लाइन्सहरू हामीले डिस्कस गरेनौँ, तर योहरू तपाईले अलिकति डिटेलमा डिस्कस पनि गर्नुपर्छ, बिकज you have to understand them in more detail, because a lot of questions come based on certain quotations that they'll give you in your question paper. यसको अलिकति एक्स्ट्रा explanation is on this particular screen. यहाँनिर भनेको छौँ what kind of poem is this भनेर एकपल्ट क्वेसन आएको छ, लास्ट इयर आएको छ क्वेसन. what kind of poem भन्दाखेरि this is a poem written in free verse भन्नु पर्यो. this is a free verse. free verse भनेको हो, this poem has no rhyme, it has no rhythm. your other teacher, अर्को जसले अनलाइन क्लास गराउनु हुँदैछ, अर्को मिस हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँले तपाईहरुलाई सनेट पढाइसक्नुभयो, शेक्सपियरको Shall I compare thee to a summer's day भन्ने पोएम पढाइसक्नुभयो. अर्को सनेट पनि गराउनुहुन्छ, द पोएट्री अफ अर्थ भन्ने नि उहाँले गराउनुहुन्छ. त्यो पोएम्सहरु डिस्कस गर्दाखेरि मिसले तपाईहरुलाई यो राइम र रिदमको कुरा गर्नु भएको छ. यो किन भन्दाखेरि इन पोएम्स रिदम इज भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट. रिदम भनेको त्यो कविताको टाइमिङ हो, लयमा भनेको हुन्छ. रिदम राइम भन्नाले त्यो नेपालीमा भन्नु हो भने त्यसलाई लय भनेर बुझ्नु पर्यो. नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर एन्ड नाउअडेज इन युजुअली इन मोडर्न टाइम्स a lot of poems are written in what are known as free verse. This particular poem is like that. यो कवितामा राइम पनि छैन, रिदम पनि छैन, so this poem is free verse. अब more important to understand here is this last part where we have said this is the analysis of the poem. यसलाई अझै राम्रोसँग बुझ्नु लागि you have to understand, try and understand this. Before we go to this, यहाँनिर जुन मैले अहिलेसम्म लेक्चर दिए regarding the poem, we talked about the title of the poem is also on killing a tree. हामीले रुख काट्नु जाँदाखेरि, हामीले रुख काट्नु गयौं भने हामीले म रुख मार्नु गएको त भन्दैनौं, हामीले के भन्छौं, रुख काट्नु गएको भन्छौँ बट इन दिस पोएम द पोएट has given this tree a life force. Life force भनेको he is treating the tree like a human being, and that is called personification. त्यो फर्स्ट लाइनमा एनालिसिसको फर्स्ट लाइनमा त्यहाँ लेखेछौँ the tree has been personified. Personified भनेको it comes from the term personification. Personification is a figure of speech, and what does it mean? त्यो अलिकति डेफिनेसन दिएको छ त्यो एरोको मुनि any non-living thing or inanimate thing or inanimate object. Inanimate भनेको something that cannot move about like humans or animals can do. If these non-living things and inanimate objects are given human characteristics, then it is called personification. Personification, very simply, it means treated like a person. When you treat non-living things like a person, it means personification. जस्तै हामीले example earth भन्यो भने we refer to earth as mother earth. हामीले mother earth भन्छौँ. We never say father earth, कहिले पनि भन्दैन. जहिले पनि हामीले mother earth भन्छौँ. किन mother earth भनेको भन्दाखेरि the earth is treated as a female. अर्थ को जेन्डर छैन, मेल हो फिमेल हो भनेर मिल्दैन. तर when we talk about the mother earth, we are thinking of the earth as a female. Why is it a female? Because it gives birth, it supports life, it nourishes life. हामी सबैलाई अर्थले अहिलेसम्म के अरे हामीलाई सपोर्ट गरिरहेको छ. It is giving us the nourishment that we require. So the earth is like a mother to us, so we say mother earth. जब हामीले mother earth भन्छौँ त्यो के हो? earth has been personified. It is a personification. अब यो पोएममा चाहिँ यो कवितामा उसले यो रुखलाई पर्सनिफाई गरेको छ. The poet has personified the tree in this particular poem. Now how has it personified? How has the poet personified the tree? त्यो एक दुईवटा एक्जाम्पलहरू त्यहाँनिर छ. So what are the human characteristics that are given to, what are the human characteristics given to this tree in this particular poem? First ma हामीले भन्यौ the tree consumes and feeds. That means the tree is eating and so it is growing. हामीले जब तपाईको घरमै पनि प्लान्टहरु होला, फूलहरु रोप्नु हुन्छ होला घरमा, हामीले जब त्यो फूललाई पानी दिन्छौं, कसैले के गर्दैछस् भनेर सोध्यो भने तपाईले ए पानी हालेको फूलमा भन्छौं हामी. We never say पानीलाई मैले खानेकुरा दिँदैछु भन्दैनौं हामीले. त्यो जब हामीले मलहरु हाल्छौं त्यो फूलमा, त्यो फूललाई हामीले खानेकुरा दिएको हामी भन्दैनौं. We don't think of it in that way. Because a plant or a tree is an inanimate object. But in this poem, when the tree in this poem is deriving nutrients from the soil, when the tree is deriving things for its growth from sunlight, air and water, what does the poet say? He says that the tree is consuming, eating. जसरी हामीले खानेकुराहरू खान्छौं त्यसरी नै रुखले पनि खादैछ भनेर उले भनेको छ. Therefore it is personification. अर्को example, in the first stanza only this occurs also in the first stanza. Leprous hide भनेको छ in one part of that stanza. Leprous hide भनेको छ. Leprous hide भनेको, the reference in this poem is to the rough bark of the tree. कुनै पनि रुखलाई हेर्नु भयो, कुनै पनि रुखलाई गएर छुनु भयो भने त्यसको जुन ट्रङ्क छ एकदमै रफ हुन्छ, स्मुथ हुँदैन प्राय रुखहरुको. So it is a reference to the rough bark of the tree. But what does leprous hide mean? Hide भनेको स्किन हो. जस्तै मान्छेको स्किन हुन्छ, एनिमलहरुको हामीले स्किन भन्दैनौं, हाइड भन्छौं. And elephants hide भनिन्छ हैन, but it means skin. Hide भनेको स्किन हो. And leprous भनेको it comes from the term leprosy. You must have heard about it. It is a disease, affects humans. मान्छेलाई leprosy भयो भने के हुन्छ भने हात खुट्टा अब in very advanced stages औँलाहरु झर्छ हैन, part of the hand, you lose part of the hand. But in the more initial stages leprosy लाग्यो भने के हुन्छ, हातमा त्यो गाँठो गाँठोहरु पर्छ हैन, the color of the skin changes. So when he uses the term leproside, again we are saying it is a personification, because he is thinking of the, not of the trees. He is not talking, I mean, in the words that he uses in the poem, he is not directly saying the trunk of the tree, he is saying leprous hide. So again that is a reference to the personification of the tree. अर्को सेकेन्ड स्ट्यान्जामा नट सो मच पेन क्यान डु इट भनेर उसले त्यो लाइनमा भनेको छ. सो रुखलाई दुख्दैछ, हामीले प्लान्ट फुल चुडायौँ या प्लान्टलाई भचायौँ भने आहा त्यो प्लान्टलाई दुख्यो भन्दैनौँ हामीले. बट इन द पोएम ही सेज द ट्री फिल्स पेन. सो देयरफोर it is again a personification. And what happens when you hack and chop at the tree? The bark of the tree bleeds. जसरी हामीलाई चोट पऱ्यो भने हाम्रोबाट रगत आउँछ, त्यसरी नै रुखबाट रगत आउँदैछ भनेर उसले इमेजिन गरेको छ. त्यो रगत के हो? अघि पनि मैले भने, इट इज द स्याप, it is the liquid that these trees have, and so that bleeding bark is a reference to the sap of the tree. त्यहाँदेखि अर्को एक्जाम्पल देख्छौँ in towards the end of the poem, in the third stanza, the tree is exposed भन्ने वर्ड युज गरेछ. the roots are exposed भन्नाले यहाँ के बुझ्नु पर्यो? that's the tree is being made naked and vulnerable भनेको something that is liable to be destroyed because it is a weak point of the tree. So if I am made to remove my clothes in public, or if somebody finds out a drawback that I have got, then I become naked and vulnerable. So like that only, like humans, the tree is also made naked and vulnerable because the roots are exposed. The roots which are hidden for years, it has been exposed. And finally, in the last stanza, the tree dies very painfully. Painfully कसरी भन्नु सक्छौँ भन्दाखेरि, he uses those words, स्कचिङ, चोकिङ, विदरिङ भनेर उसले कवितामा प्रयोग गरेको छ. अब रुखलाई, प्लान्टलाई हामीले यसरी मर्दैछ हामीले सोच्दैनौँ हैन. वी थिङ्क अबाउट दिस ओन्ली विथ रिगार्ड टु ह्युमन्स अर प्रोबेबली एनिमल्स हुम वी लभ. स्कचिङ, घाममा एकदमै चर्को घाम लागिरहेको छ भने वी से आई एम स्कचिङ इन द सन, घाममा डढिरहेको छु, मलाई घामले भिजाइरहेको छ. We talk about choking, when I can't breathe, I am choking. And withering, to become very dry and wrinkled. We use these terms. Generally, we use these terms with regard to humans, but here it is used with regard to this tree, and that is what personification is, and this is something that you must keep in mind. So the tree in this poem has been personified. Why? Because the tree is treated like a human being. कसरी अब त्यो क्वेसन आयो, कसरी चाहिँ मान्छे जस्तो ट्रिट गर्यो भने नै you have to talk about these things. And finally we have also said here, this is not there in the poem, but this is what we have said, murder attempt 1, 2 and 3 भनेर यहाँ लेखिदिएको छु, so that it becomes the concept of what the poet is trying to tell you becomes more clear to you. We are not, the poem is not talking about, he's actually talking about cutting down a tree, he's talking about destroying a tree, but the words that he uses, but the manner in which he gives this description makes us feel as if we are trying to murder the tree. So just as when we talk about murder, we talk about killing somebody, some other human. When we kill animals, we don't use the term murder. I do not say I murdered an elephant, or I murdered a dog or a cow or a buffalo. I will say, if I do that, I will say I have slaughtered an elephant. मारेकै कुरा हो, तर एनिमल्सलाई मार्नु हो भने we use the term slaughtered. When we talk about say cutting down trees, we simply say I have cut down the tree. I don't say I have murdered the tree, I have slaughtered the tree. तर यो पोएममा यस्तो प्रकारले प्रेजेन्ट गरेको छ that we are made to feel that we are trying to murder the tree. So what was the first attempt at murder? It was with the jab of a knife, by poking the tree with a knife. The second attempt of murder in the poem is when we hack and chop the tree using an axe. And the third attempt of murder in the third stanza is when we pull out the tree from the earth pull out the roots of the tree from the earth, that is the third attempt of murder. So we used the terms murder, we have explained to you what personification is and what are the ways in which the tree has been personified, because these are very important to understanding the poem. So I hope this lecture has been useful for you. I hope you have been able to understand the poem. The concept that is discussed in the poem is a bit more clear to you with this discussion. These are some of the sample questions which you can try and answer on your own based on the explanation that we have given to you. These are the long questions that will come in your exams, and in this screen you have the short answer questions. The first question there, in what form of verse is the poem on killing a tree written? Last year asked question भन्यो यसको आन्सर हुन्छ the poem is written in free verse लेख्नु पर्यो. अघिको स्क्रिनमा मैले तपाईहरुलाई देखाएको थिए. त्यो सेकेन्ड क्वेशन पनि रहेछ. What is meant by leproside? That is also defined in the previous screen. What is meant by leproside? Sorry, this is shown to you in this screen. यहाँनिर मिनिङ दिएको छ. Leproside भन्दाखेरि it refers to the rough bark of the tree. That is the answer. Then these are the other questions there. You can try and solve these questions based on the lecture that we have given. And the answers for this part, the multiple choice part, have been given to you. Let us go back before we end. Let us go back to the long answer questions. यहाँ क्वेशनमा एउटा के देखाउन चाहन्छु भने जस्तै यो क्वेशन नम्बर 2 मा हेर्नुस्. हाउ डज द पोएट डिस्क्राइब द ग्रोथ अफ अ ट्री ओभर द इयर्स? त्यही कारण मैले अघिको स्क्रिनहरु भिन्दै भिन्दै प्रकारले मैले त्यो लेक्चर दिँदाखेरि भिन्दै भिन्दै कुराहरु भनेको छ, किनभने त्यो स्ट्यान्जा वाइज गरेको छु मैले. फर क्वेशन नम्बर 2, हाउ डज द पोएट डिस्क्राइब द ग्रोथ अफ अ ट्री ओभर द इयर्स भन्दाखेरि the major part of your answer will be based on the first stanza. First stanza ma ke discuss gareको थियो? Growth of the tree. So that is what you need to write there. त्यस्तै गरी in number 3 also it's the same thing. Why does it take much time to kill a tree? It takes much time to kill a tree because of what we have said in the first stanza, the growth of the tree भन्ने. Because the tree has grown slowly over many years by consuming the earth and by absorbing sunlight, air, water. त्यो कुराहरु भन्नुभयो. So तपाईले यो आन्सर्सहरु अटेम्प्ट गर्नु लागि क्लियर चाहिँ के कुरामा चाहिँ क्लियर हुनु पर्यो भने what is discussed in each stanza of the poem. First stanza मा growth जुन प्रकारले लेखेको छ, second stanza मा the healing of the tree, the injury that is made on the tree, third stanza मा जुन हामीले final act भनेर लेख्यौं, our attempt to murder the tree, and finally how the tree is killed. Now with this we have come to the end of the lesson. I hope that I have not bored you with all this lecture that I have given you. Without giving this lecture we cannot explain things in this online class like we could have done in a regular class in school. I hope this has been useful for you. We'll meet again in another class with another lesson.